The injured dog lay bleeding, ignored by all, but then, the city of Chicago throbbed with a relentless energy. Its streets a symphony of honking cars, chattering pedestrians, and the distant rumble of elevated trains. Rusty, a scruffy mixed-breed dog with a coat the color of faded asphalt and eyes that held a weary wisdom, navigated the urban jungle with a cautious familiarity. He was a survivor, a stray who had learned to scavenge for scraps amidst the overflowing garbage bins, to dodge the indifferent feet of hurried pedestrians, and to seek shelter in the hidden corners of the city's underbelly. He had witnessed the best and worst of humanity, the occasional kindness of a shared sandwich, the harsh indifference of a averted gaze, the casual cruelty of a carelessly thrown stone. Rusty knew the city's rhythm, the ebb and flow of its energy, the pulse of its heartbeat. He knew where to find the warmest vents in the winter, the shadiest patches of grass in the summer, the hidden alleyways that offered a temporary respite from the relentless noise and bustle. He was a shadow, a ghost, a fleeting presence that blended into the urban tapestry, his existence unnoticed by most, his presence tolerated by those who had grown accustomed to his quiet scavenging and his non-threatening demeanor. But on this particular day, Rusty's luck had run out. As he darted across a busy street, his eyes fixed on a discarded hot dog bun lying tantalizingly on the opposite sidewalk, a car horn blared, its sound a jarring intrusion into the symphony of the city. He hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to retreat, but the allure of the food, the promise of a rare treat, clouded his judgment. He continued his dash, his paws pounding the pavement, his heart pounding in his chest. The car, its brakes screeching in protest, swerved to avoid him, its tires skidding on the rain-slicked asphalt. But it was too late. The impact sent Rusty flying, his body a projectile hurled through the air, his yelp of pain a fleeting sound lost in the cacophony of the city. He landed with a sickening thud, his body hitting the pavement with a force that knocked the wind out of him. He lay there, stunned and disoriented, his vision blurred, his ears ringing, his body a symphony of pain. He tried to rise, his legs trembling, his movements hampered by a searing pain in his hindquarters. He whimpered softly, his cries a plea for help, a desperate cry for comfort in the face of his sudden and overwhelming vulnerability. But the city, its rhythm unbroken, its inhabitants oblivious to his plight, continued its relentless march. Cars sped past, their drivers unaware of the life they had shattered, their indifference a cruel reminder of Rusty's insignificance in the grand scheme of the urban jungle. Pedestrians hurried by, their eyes averted, their footsteps a steady beat that echoed Rusty's isolation. They saw him, a crumpled form on the sidewalk, a fleeting image of suffering that barely registered in their busy minds. They averted their gaze, their indifference a shield against the discomfort of witnessing another creature's pain. Rusty, his pain intensifying, his fear growing with each passing moment, dragged himself towards the relative safety of a nearby alleyway. He left a trail of blood, a crimson stain on the gray pavement, a testament to his suffering, a silent cry for help that went unanswered. He reached the alleyway, its shadows a welcome respite from the harsh glare of the city, its silence a stark contrast to the cacophony of the streets. He collapsed onto a pile of discarded cardboard boxes, his body trembling, his breathing shallow, his eyes filled with a despair that mirrored the grim reality of his situation. He was alone, injured and forgotten, a victim of the city's indifference, his fate uncertain, his life hanging precariously in the balance. The alleyway, a narrow chasm between towering brick buildings, became Rusty's sanctuary, a refuge from the indifferent gaze of the city. The stench of rotting garbage mingled with the dampness of stale rainwater, creating a pungent aroma that assaulted his nostrils, but he was beyond caring. The pain radiating from his injured hindquarters consumed him, each throb a reminder of his vulnerability, his helplessness. He lay curled on his side, his whimpers muffled by the cardboard beneath him, his eyes glazed with pain and fear. He watched the legs of passers-by, their hurried footsteps echoing in the narrow confines of the alley, their indifference a sharp contrast to the urgency of his suffering. A businessman in a crisp suit, his briefcase clutched tightly, his eyes fixed on the sidewalk ahead, stepped over Rusty without a glance, his mind preoccupied with the day's agenda. His heart closed to the suffering that lay at his feet. A young woman in fashionable attire, her phone glued to her ear, her laughter echoing in the alleyway, sidestepped Rusty with a casual indifference, her conversation more important than the life struggling for survival mere inches away. A group of teenagers, their boisterous chatter and carefree laughter filling the air, paused briefly at the sight of Rusty, their curiosity piqued by his whimpers and the blood staining the cardboard beneath him. But their concern was fleeting, their empathy overshadowed by their youthful indifference, their attention quickly diverted by the allure of the bustling city. Rusty, his pain intensifying, his fear growing with each passing hour, felt a wave of despair wash over him. He had witnessed the city's indifference before, the casual disregard for those who fell through the cracks, the forgotten souls who existed on the fringes of its vibrant tapestry. But now, he was one of them, his suffering invisible, his cries unheard, his life a fleeting flicker in the vast expanse of urban indifference. The sun arced across the sky, its rays casting long shadows that crept across the alleyway, their movement a mocking reminder of the passage of time, the dwindling hope that clung to Rusty's weary heart. He had known hunger before, the gnawing emptiness that drove him to scavenge for scraps, the desperation that fueled his survival instincts. But this was different. This was pain, a searing agony that consumed his body, a vulnerability that stripped him of his resilience, a fear that whispered of his mortality. He longed for a touch, a gentle hand to soothe his pain, a voice to offer comfort, a presence to remind him that he was not alone in this vast and indifferent world. But the city, its rhythm relentless, its inhabitants consumed by their own pursuits, offered no solace. It was a machine, a heartless entity that churned and throbbed, its gears grinding, its cogs turning, its progress indifferent to the suffering that lay hidden in its shadows. Rusty, his whimpers fading into a low moan, his eyes glazed with a growing despair, surrendered to the darkness that crept into the alleyway, his consciousness fading, his life a fragile flame flickering in the face of the city's relentless indifference. As twilight deepened the shadows in the alleyway, a figure emerged from the gloom, his footsteps slow and hesitant, his presence a stark contrast to the hurried indifference of the city's usual inhabitants. Ben, a young homeless man with a weathered face and kind eyes, shuffled through the debris, his gaze scanning the ground for discarded treasures, his survival instincts honed by years of living on the fringes of society. He spotted Rusty, his crumpled form barely visible amidst the clutter, his labored breathing a faint whisper in the stillness of the alley. Ben, his heart touched by a familiar pang of empathy, knelt beside the injured dog, his own experiences of hardship and neglect creating an unspoken bond with the suffering creature. He gently touched Rusty's fur, his calloused hand a surprising contrast to the dog's matted coat, his touch gentle and reassuring. Rusty, his senses dulled by pain and exhaustion, stirred slightly, his eyes opening to meet Ben's gaze, their shared vulnerability a silent language of understanding. Ben, his voice a soft murmur, spoke to Rusty, his words a mix of comfort and concern. "Hey there, fella," he whispered, his tone gentle, his presence a beacon of warmth in the cold alleyway. "Looks like you've seen better days." Rusty, his tail giving a weak thump against the cardboard, his eyes reflecting a flicker of gratitude, acknowledged Ben's presence, his trust in the stranger a testament to the shared language of suffering, the unspoken bond between those who had known hardship and neglect. Ben, his own meager possessions bundled in a tattered backpack, rummaged through its contents, his search yielding a half-eaten sandwich, his most prized possession, his only source of sustenance for the day. He hesitated for a moment, his stomach growling with hunger, his own needs battling with his compassion for the injured dog. But his heart won over his hunger, his empathy for Rusty's plight overriding his own survival instincts. He tore the sandwich in half, offering a portion to Rusty, his gesture a selfless act of kindness, a sharing of his meager resources with a creature in greater need. Rusty, his appetite dulled by pain, but his instincts urging him to accept the offering, lapped at the sandwich, his gratitude evident in his gentle licks of Ben's hand. Ben, his heart warmed by the dog's response, sat beside him, his presence a comforting reassurance, his touch a gentle balm for Rusty's wounded spirit. He examined Rusty's injuries, his brow furrowed with concern, his limited knowledge of first aid inadequate in the face of the dog's obvious suffering. He knew he couldn't leave Rusty to fend for himself, his condition worsening with each passing hour. He had to find help, a sanctuary, a place where this gentle creature could receive the care he desperately needed. He resolved to seek help, his determination fueled by a mix of compassion and a newfound sense of purpose. He would navigate the labyrinth of the city's social services, his own experience with homelessness a guide through the maze of shelters and outreach programs. He would find a haven for Rusty, a place where his suffering would be acknowledged, his wounds healed, his spirit restored. And as the night deepened, the city lights casting long shadows that danced across the alleyway walls, Ben sat beside Rusty, his presence a beacon of hope in the darkness, his compassion a testament to the enduring power of human kindness to transcend even the harshest of realities. The morning light, filtering through the grimy windows of the alleyway, revealed the extent of Rusty's injuries. His once vibrant coat was matted with blood and dirt, his breathing labored, his whimpers a constant reminder of his suffering. Ben, his heart heavy with concern, knew he had to act quickly. He gently lifted Rusty, his own body thin and wiry, his strength surprising as he cradled the dog in his arms. He navigated the maze of alleyways and backstreets, his internal compass guiding him towards the heart of the city, where he hoped to find help for his injured companion. He reached the bustling streets, the morning rush hour a cacophony of honking cars and hurried pedestrians. He approached a woman with a kind face and a briefcase, his voice a hesitant plea for assistance. "Excuse me, ma'am," he began, his words a mix of desperation and hope. "Do you know where I can find help for my dog? He's been hurt." The woman, her eyes widening at the sight of Rusty's injuries, her initial sympathy quickly replaced by a guarded apprehension, offered a curt response. "Try the animal shelter," she said, her voice devoid of warmth, her gaze averted as she hurried on her way. Ben, his hopes dashed, continued his search, his footsteps echoing his growing frustration. He approached a group of teenagers huddled around a bus stop, their laughter and chatter a stark contrast to the urgency of his mission. "Hey, guys," he began, his voice a hopeful plea. "Do you know where the nearest animal shelter is?" The teenagers, their eyes glued to their phones, their attention consumed by their digital world, barely registered his presence. They mumbled a vague response, their directions unclear, their indifference a reminder of the city's impersonal nature. Ben, his frustration mounting, his concern for Rusty growing with each passing moment, pressed on, his determination fueled by a mix of compassion and a stubborn refusal to give up. He navigated the maze of streets, his internal compass guiding him towards the outskirts of the city, where he remembered seeing a sign for an animal shelter. He reached the shelter, its modest building a beacon of hope amidst the urban sprawl. He approached the reception desk, his heart pounding with anticipation, his voice filled with a mix of relief and apprehension. "Please," he began, his words tumbling over each other in his eagerness. "My dog, he's been hit by a car. He needs help." The receptionist, a young woman with a tired expression and a stack of paperwork piled high on her desk, looked at Ben with a mix of pity and skepticism. Her eyes scanned his disheveled appearance, his tattered clothes, his unkempt beard, her judgment evident in her hesitant response. "We're full," she said, her voice flat and devoid of emotion. "We can't take in any more strays."
Ben.
His frustration boiling over, his voice rising in desperation, pleaded his case. "But he's not a stray. He's my dog. He needs help. Please, you have to do something." The receptionist, her patience wearing thin, her bureaucratic mindset overriding her compassion, reiterated her response. "I'm sorry, sir. We have limited resources. We can't help every animal that comes through our doors." Ben, his anger and despair threatening to overwhelm him, felt a hand on his shoulder, its touch gentle but firm. He turned to see a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, her presence a calming influence amidst his frustration. "Excuse me," she said, her voice soft but authoritative. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Perhaps I can help." The woman introduced herself as Emily, a volunteer at the shelter, her dedication to animal welfare evident in her gentle demeanor and her compassionate gaze. She listened patiently as Ben recounted his story, his voice cracking with emotion, his love for Rusty evident in his every word. Emily, her heart touched by Ben's plight and Rusty's suffering, offered a lifeline, her words a beacon of hope in the face of bureaucratic indifference. "Don't worry," she reassured him, her voice filled with a quiet strength. "We'll take care of Rusty, and we'll find a way to help you too." Ben, his eyes filled with gratitude, his heart filled with a renewed sense of hope, watched as Emily gently lifted Rusty, her touch gentle and reassuring, her presence a testament to the power of human compassion to transcend the barriers of judgment and prejudice. He followed her, his footsteps lighter now, his spirit lifted by the kindness of a stranger, his faith in humanity restored by the promise of a second chance for both him and his beloved companion. Emily, her heart touched by the plight of both Ben and Rusty, guided them through the bustling shelter, its kennels filled with the hopeful faces of abandoned animals, its atmosphere a mix of sadness and resilience. She led them to a quiet examination room, its sterile environment a stark contrast to the harsh realities of the streets, its promise of healing a beacon of hope for the injured dog. She gently placed Rusty on the examination table, his whimpers muffled by the soft padding, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and exhaustion. Emily, her touch gentle and reassuring, examined his injuries, her practiced hands assessing the extent of the damage, her brow furrowed with concern. She discovered a broken leg, its bone protruding at an unnatural angle, a testament to the force of the impact that had sent him flying. She found deep lacerations, their edges raw and infected, a reminder of the neglect and suffering he had endured. Her heart ached for Rusty, his vulnerability a mirror of the countless animals she had encountered in her years of volunteering at the shelter. She had witnessed the cruelty of abandonment, the indifference of society, the toll that hardship and neglect took on these innocent creatures. But she had also witnessed the resilience of the animal spirit, the capacity for healing, the transformative power of compassion and care. She was determined to offer Rusty a second chance, to mend his broken body, to restore his faith in humanity. She explained the necessary procedures to Ben, her voice gentle but firm, her words carrying a mix of hope and caution. Rusty would need surgery, his broken leg requiring pins and plates to stabilize the bone, his wounds needing to be cleaned and stitched. He would require weeks of rest and rehabilitation, his recovery a journey that would demand patience, dedication, and a loving environment. Ben, his eyes filled with gratitude, his heart filled with a renewed sense of hope, nodded his agreement, his trust in Emily unwavering. He had found an ally, a compassionate soul who had not only acknowledged his plight, but had also offered a lifeline to his beloved companion. Emily, her resources limited but her determination boundless, made arrangements for Rusty's surgery, her connections within the veterinary community, a testament to her years of dedication to animal welfare. She secured a discounted rate, her persuasive charm and genuine concern for Rusty's well-being convincing the surgeon to take on the case pro bono. She then faced the challenge of finding a suitable foster home for Rusty, a place where he could recover in a safe and loving environment. She considered her options, her mind reviewing the list of potential foster families, her heart searching for the perfect match for this gentle and deserving creature. But as she pondered the possibilities, a different solution emerged, a solution that spoke to the depths of her own compassion and her growing connection to both Ben and Rusty. She would foster Rusty herself. She lived alone in a small but cozy apartment, her life dedicated to her work at the shelter and her passion for animal welfare. She had never considered fostering before, her fear of attachment, of the inevitable heartbreak of saying goodbye, holding her back. But something about Rusty, his vulnerability, his resilience, his bond with Ben, touched her heart in a way she had never experienced before. She felt a calling, a responsibility to offer him a haven, to nurture his healing, to witness his transformation. She shared her decision with Ben, his eyes widening in surprise, his gratitude evident in his heartfelt thanks. He had found not just a savior for Rusty, but also a friend, a compassionate soul who had opened her heart and her home to them both. Emily arranged for Ben to stay at a local homeless shelter, its resources a temporary haven for him while he sought employment and a more permanent solution to his own challenges. She promised to visit him regularly, to keep him updated on Rusty's progress, their shared connection to the dog a bond that was forging an unlikely friendship between them. And so, with Rusty settled in her spare bedroom, his whimpers now replaced by soft snores, his injured body a testament to the resilience of the animal spirit, Emily embarked on a journey of healing and transformation, her heart opening to the possibilities of compassion, her life enriched by the presence of this gentle creature and the unlikely friendship that had blossomed in the midst of hardship and despair. Emily's apartment, usually a quiet sanctuary filled with books and the comforting aroma of herbal tea, transformed into a haven of healing for Rusty. She dedicated her spare bedroom to his recovery, creating a cozy nest of blankets and pillows, its warmth a stark contrast to the cold alleyway where she had found him. She monitored his progress meticulously, administering medication, changing bandages, and ensuring his comfort with a gentle touch and a soothing voice. She spoke to him softly, sharing stories of her day, her hopes for his recovery, her admiration for his resilience. Rusty, his pain gradually subsiding under her care, responded to her kindness with a growing trust and affection. He would lick her hand gratefully, his eyes reflecting a deep appreciation for her compassion. He would wag his tail weakly, his movements restricted by his injuries, but his spirit lifted by her presence. He would follow her around the apartment, his limping gait a testament to his healing body, his presence a comforting warmth in her once solitary life. He would curl up at her feet as she worked on her laptop, his soft snores a gentle lullaby that filled the quiet space. He would greet her at the door each evening with a joyful bark, his tail wagging excitedly, his eyes sparkling with a newfound happiness. He had found a haven, a sanctuary where his wounds were healing, his spirit nurtured, his trust in humanity restored. Emily, in turn, found herself transformed by Rusty's presence. Her life, once defined by her work at the shelter and her solitary routines, now had a new focus, a new purpose. She found joy in caring for Rusty, her compassion finding an outlet in his recovery, her heart opening to the unconditional love he offered. She visited Ben regularly at the homeless shelter, sharing updates on Rusty's progress, their conversations a mix of concern and hope, their shared connection to the dog a bond that was forging an unlikely friendship between them. She encouraged Ben in his search for employment, her belief in his potential a source of motivation, her support a lifeline in his struggle to rebuild his life. She helped him navigate the maze of social services, her knowledge of the system a valuable resource, her advocacy a testament to her compassion and her determination to help those in need. Ben, inspired by Emily's kindness and Rusty's resilience, found a renewed sense of purpose. He secured a part-time job at a local grocery store, his days filled with a sense of accomplishment, His evenings spent visiting Rusty and sharing stories of his progress with Emily. He would walk Rusty around the neighborhood, their shared outings a testament to their bond, their presence a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. He would groom Rusty's fur, his touch gentle and caring, his actions a reflection of the gratitude he felt for the dog who had brought him into Emily's life. He would sit with Emily and Rusty in the evenings, their conversations filled with laughter and shared dreams, their companionship a haven of warmth and acceptance, their bond a testament to the transformative power of compassion and the enduring strength of the human-animal connection. And as the weeks turned into months, Rusty's body healed, his spirit soared, and the unlikely trio of Emily, Ben, and Rusty formed a family, their connection a beacon of hope in the heart of the bustling city, their story a testament to the resilience of the human and animal spirit and the power of kindness to transform lives. Rusty's story, a tale of resilience and unexpected connection, began to spread beyond the confines of Emily's apartment and the homeless shelter where Ben now resided. Word of the injured dog, the compassionate volunteer, and the homeless man who had refused to abandon his friend touched the hearts of the community, its ripple effect a testament to the power of compassion to transcend social barriers. Emily, inspired by the outpouring of support, shared Rusty's story with the local newspaper, her words painting a vivid picture of his struggle, his recovery, and the unlikely friendship that had blossomed in the midst of hardship. The article, accompanied by a heartwarming photo of Rusty, Ben, and Emily, captured the attention of the city, its message of hope and resilience resonating with readers from all walks of life. Donations poured into the animal shelter, its coffers filled with the generosity of those who had been touched by Rusty's story. Offers of assistance flooded Emily's inbox, volunteers eager to contribute their time and resources to support Rusty's continued recovery and Ben's journey towards a stable life. Local businesses, their hearts touched by the story, offered Ben employment opportunities, their willingness to give him a second chance, a testament to the community's newfound belief in the power of redemption. Ben, his confidence bolstered by this unexpected support, secured a steady job at a local bookstore, his days filled with a sense of purpose, his evenings spent with Rusty and Emily, their shared meals and conversations a celebration of their newfound family. Rusty, his recovery now complete, his once injured legs strong and agile, became a symbol of hope, his presence at the shelter a source of comfort and inspiration for both the animals and the humans who crossed his path. He would greet visitors with a wagging tail and a gentle nudge, his eyes reflecting the warmth and gratitude that filled his heart. He would participate in adoption events, his presence a calming influence on the anxious animals, his gentle demeanor a testament to the transformative power of love and care. He would accompany Emily on her visits to local schools and community centers, his story shared with wide-eyed children and compassionate adults, his message of resilience and second chances resonating with those who had known hardship and adversity. The city, once an indifferent backdrop to Rusty's struggle, now embraced him as a symbol of hope, his story a reminder that compassion could blossom even in the harshest of environments, that connection could transcend social barriers, and that second chances could lead to extraordinary transformations. And as Rusty, Ben, and Emily navigated their newfound lives, their bond a testament to the power of friendship and the enduring strength of the human-animal connection. They carried with them the legacy of Rusty's journey, their story a beacon of hope that illuminated the path towards healing, resilience, and the transformative power of love. As Rusty thrived in his new life, his presence a beacon of joy and resilience at the shelter, and within their little family unit, Emily found herself facing a personal storm. Her mother, her only remaining family, fell ill, her diagnosis a harsh reminder of life's fragility, her declining health a shadow that loomed over Emily's usually bright spirit. She juggled her work at the shelter, her commitment to Ben and Rusty, and the increasing demands of caring for her ailing mother, her days a whirlwind of responsibilities, her nights filled with worry and a growing sense of exhaustion. She found solace in her bond with Ben and Rusty, their presence a comforting anchor in the midst of her emotional turmoil. Their evenings together, once filled with laughter and shared stories, now took on a quieter tone, their conversations a mix of concern and support, their shared meals a comforting ritual in the face of uncertainty. Ben, his own life transformed by Emily's kindness, stepped up, his gratitude for her support now manifesting in acts of quiet service and unwavering companionship. He would cook simple meals, his culinary skills honed by his years of resourceful living, his creations a nourishing balm for Emily's weary soul. He would take on extra chores around the apartment, his cleaning and tidying a silent expression of his appreciation, his efforts a way to ease her burden and allow her to focus on her mother's care. He would sit with her in the evenings, their shared silence a comforting presence, his understanding gaze a testament to the empathy that had blossomed between them. Rusty, his intuitive senses attuned to Emily's sadness, offered his own unique brand of comfort. He would curl up beside her on the couch, his warm body a reassuring weight, his soft snores a lullaby that eased her anxieties. He would greet her at the door each evening with a joyful bark and a wagging tail, his enthusiasm a beacon of light in her weary days, his unconditional love a reminder of the simple joys that life still held. He would accompany her on her visits to her mother, his presence a calming influence in the sterile environment of the hospital room, his gentle demeanor a source of comfort for both Emily and her ailing mother. The bond between Emily, Ben, and Rusty deepened, their shared experiences forging a family unlike any they had ever known. They faced the challenges of life together, their support for each other a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of compassion. And as Emily navigated the difficult journey of caring for her mother, her heart heavy with the knowledge of impending loss, she found solace in the love and companionship of her unlikely family, their presence a reminder that even in the darkest of times, kindness, loyalty, and the enduring bond between humans and animals could illuminate the path towards healing and hope. Spring arrived, bringing with it a renewed sense of hope and the promise of brighter days. Emily's mother, her strength slowly returning, was able to return home from the hospital, her recovery a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unwavering love of her daughter. The apartment, once filled with the somber undertones of illness and worry, now echoed with laughter and the comforting sounds of shared meals and conversations. Emily, her spirits lifted, her heart filled with gratitude for her mother's recovery, embraced her newfound joy, her bond with Ben and Rusty a constant source of strength and support. One sunny afternoon, as Emily and Ben were enjoying a picnic lunch in the park with Rusty, their laughter mingling with the cheerful sounds of children playing and birds singing, a commotion erupted nearby, shattering the peaceful atmosphere. A young boy, his face contorted with fear, his cries piercing the air, ran towards them, his small body trembling, his voice choked with panic. "Help! Help!" he cried, his words barely audible between sobs. "My little sister. She fell in the pond." Emily and Ben, their instincts kicking in, sprang to their feet, their eyes scanning the area for the source of the boy's distress. They spotted a small figure struggling in the murky waters of the park's pond, her arms flailing, her cries for help swallowed by the ripples that spread across the surface. Without hesitation, Ben, his athleticism honed by his years of navigating the city streets, sprinted towards the pond, his long strides carrying him across the grassy expanse, his determination fueled by a surge of adrenaline and a protective instinct for the child in danger. Rusty, his loyal heart sensing the urgency of the situation, his instincts honed by generations of protective companionship, followed close behind, his powerful body a blur of golden fur, his barks echoing Ben's determination. Ben reached the pond's edge, his eyes assessing the situation, his mind calculating the safest approach. He plunged into the icy water, his strong arms cutting through the murky depths, his gaze fixed on the struggling child. Rusty, his love for his human companions overriding any fear, followed Ben into the water, his powerful legs propelling him through the chilling depths, his eyes fixed on the child, his instincts guiding him towards the rescue. Ben reached the child, her small body limp in his arms, her face pale and lifeless. He lifted her from the water, his movements swift and decisive, his strength fueled by a desperate hope to revive her. Rusty, his powerful body a natural buoy, swam alongside Ben, his presence a comforting reassurance, his support a testament to the bond they shared, the loyalty that transcended the boundaries of species. They reached the shore, Ben laying the child gently on the grass, his hands administering CPR, his voice a desperate plea for her to breathe, to live. Rusty, his anxiety evident in his whimpers, nudged the child gently, his warmth a comforting presence, his love a silent prayer for her survival. Emily, her heart pounding with fear and hope, watched the scene unfold, her medical training kicking in as she rushed to assist Ben, her hands joining his in the desperate effort to revive the child. And then, a miracle. The child coughed, a sputtering gasp of air filling her lungs, her eyes fluttering open, her cries a symphony of life returning. Ben and Emily, their faces etched with relief, their hearts filled with gratitude, embraced the child, their tears a testament to the fragility of life and the power of human intervention. Rusty, his tail wagging furiously, his barks echoing the joy and relief that filled the air, licked the child's face, his affection a celebration of her survival, his presence a reminder of the unwavering loyalty and love that dogs brought into the world. The crowd that had gathered, their faces etched with concern, erupted in applause, their cheers a testament to the heroism they had witnessed, their gratitude a reflection of the community's shared values of compassion and courage. Ben and Rusty, their actions a testament to the enduring bond between humans and animals, the transformative power of second chances, and the resilience of the human and animal spirit, were hailed as heroes. Their story a beacon of hope that illuminated the city's heart, a reminder that even in the midst of hardship and despair, love and compassion could prevail. The story of Rusty's heroic rescue spread like wildfire through the city, his image gracing the front page of the local newspaper, his tale a beacon of hope and inspiration in a world often overshadowed by cynicism and despair. The once invisible stray, the dog who had been ignored and neglected, now found himself celebrated as a hero, his actions a testament to the unwavering loyalty and courage that resided within his heart. The city that had once turned a blind eye to his suffering now embraced him with open arms, its citizens recognizing the depth of his compassion, the strength of his spirit, the transformative power of his love. Donations poured into the animal shelter, its coffers overflowing with the generosity of those who had been touched by Rusty's story. Ben, his own life transformed by the ripple effect of Rusty's heroism, found himself embraced by the community, his past struggles overshadowed by his selfless act of courage. He was offered a full-time position at the bookstore, his dedication and work ethic a testament to his newfound stability and sense of purpose. He moved into a small apartment, its cozy confines a world away from the harsh realities of the streets, its warmth a haven for him and his beloved companion. He continued to visit Emily and her mother, their bond strengthened by the shared experience of Rusty's rescue, their friendship a testament to the enduring power of compassion and connection. Emily, her heart filled with gratitude for the role Rusty had played in her life, continued her work at the animal shelter, her dedication to animal welfare fueled by the reminder of the transformative power of love and care. She organized adoption events, her voice a passionate advocate for the countless animals seeking their forever homes, her efforts a tribute to the second chances that had changed Rusty's life and her own. Rusty, his once wounded body now fully healed, his spirit soaring with a newfound confidence, became an ambassador for the shelter, his presence a symbol of hope and resilience. He participated in therapy sessions, his gentle demeanor a calming influence on those struggling with emotional and physical challenges, his unconditional love a balm for their wounded spirits. He visited schools and libraries, his story shared with wide-eyed children and compassionate adults, his message of kindness and courage resonating with those who had known hardship and adversity. He became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and loyalty could prevail, that second chances could lead to extraordinary transformations, and that the bond between humans and animals could illuminate the path towards healing and redemption. And as the years passed, the story of Rusty, the injured dog who had been ignored by all, became a timeless tale, a legend whispered through the city streets, a reminder of the resilience of the human and animal spirit, the transformative power of compassion, and the enduring strength of the bond that connected all living creatures. It was a story that celebrated the power of second chances, the triumph of hope over despair, and the enduring legacy of love that could heal even the deepest wounds.